9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy Sunday, CROC Nation. This is your favorite cancer survivorship bus driver, Dr. Tom Iannelli. On the other side of the glass, Angel Santana. Have faith, let it begin. Angel, happy Sunday.
Holy cow, happy Sunday, and it's so weird not to be sitting next to you, my friend. We are in Zoom world right now.
It is a Zoom world, but that's okay. We'll be back shoulder to shoulder next Wednesday for our taping. Today, Angel, although it's not really today, but the podcast is going to be on November 21st. That's a Sunday, and that's when this episode will air. And then 4 days later is
Thanksgiving.
That's absolutely right.
Oh.
I want to ask you a question, Angel. You're getting ready for Thanksgiving dinner, and you have your beautiful family, my dear niece, Ariel, and your lovely wife, Rachel, and your mom and dad, Lucy, and your dad is Angel, right?
Yes, sir.
And Angel and your brothers and everybody. And what do you do before you begin digging into that beautiful American turkey or into that stuffing or into your cranberry sauce or your sweet potatoes, pumpkin pie? What are you doing first?
Well, we will, before we say grace, we will try to get, in the Spanish family, it's trying to get everybody into that one room just to circle around to get us to set up for that formation of grace.
And there's also another tradition, and I've been part of this. My dear wife, Denise, and her family, we always say something before we begin the meal. It's always a word of thanksgiving, a word of thanks. What are we thankful for at this part of the year? And I think that what today's podcast will be, it's going to be on gratitude. There's your surprise. And I think it's apropos because it's the Sunday before Thanksgiving. But also, we're going to look at some of the health consequences, the good health consequences of being thankful and having what I call gratitude. So today's podcast, A Spirit of Gratitude, is going to be both personal, and we're going to talk about our thanks and what we're thankful for. And we're also going to look at the health implications of that same gratitude. So Angel, what are you thankful for?
Well, it's funny, just to add to that, we do this, but we do this after, like we get started with the meal, and then as things just start to get comfortable, that's when we start going around. It doesn't always work the way I like to, but I think every traditional home, I think every home should do it, because it's important to express how you feel, even if it's for once a year for some people that don't get a chance to do it. So to answer your question, I am truly thankful for my health. I have to be honest. I know that sounds a more of a me factor, but given everything that I have gone through in the last couple of years, I have to be thankful for my health this year, because I have gone through enough. God only knows, between your show and my show, we know how many surgeries I've had. So I'm so thankful that I'm healthy and that I'm past a lot of these surgeries.
Awesome. Well, I am thankful for one of the greatest families in the world, my dear wife and her amazing family. And I'm so thankful for my 3 children and my warm home and my beautiful dogs. And just as importantly, I am so thrilled to be able to work with cancer survivors. And I hope it shows, because, this podcast is a labor of love. And I have gratitude toward all of my patients and their families. And it's, to me, such an honor for a doctor to be able to care for a patient, especially a doctor to care for a cancer patient, because you know how we feel about our special cancer patients. So those are the things that, what I would ask all of our CROC Nation is to take stock. This is the Sunday before Thanksgiving. Go to that table prepared. Think about what it is that you're thankful for. So when it's your turn, you won't do like one of those Ralph Cramden humna Ed Norton. You'll jump right into it. But let's talk. And again, I love these podcasts. The board of directors have given me had put a warrant out for my arrest if my podcasts exceed 30 minutes. So we're going to try to keep it nice and zippy and go nice and quick. But there are also health benefits, to gratitude, for being grateful. And we're going to talk a little bit about it. I can't tell you, Angel, this is hard science, but what I will tell you is that there is some neuroscientific data and writings that support that. So what are your thoughts about that so far?
I would have to agree. I mean, just the word thankful. I know I'm going back on the word, but just the word thankful is such a powerful word. And we sometimes take that word for granted because, we say thank you and really we don't mean it. But when we say thankful, it's a complete sentence, even though it's just one word. It's, you're saying thanks, but you're saying thanks because you're full of thanks. And I like to say that because when you say you're thankful, it's like you're grateful, you can just keep going on with different words, but thankful is a word that we just don't utilize enough.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. So what part of the day, I know you walk Cody in the morning and you get ready for your podcast and you tape your podcast, Have Faith, Let It Begin. And when do you start doing your moments of gratitude? Is it throughout the day, before you go to bed? When do you start with your gratitude shout outs?
Mine starts from the moment I wake up, to be really honest with you. And it's like, take my CPAP machine off, my mask off, and I start getting mentally prepared for my day. By the time I would say about 15 minutes after I've woken up, I've already had my thanks for waking up, have my thanks for how my day ended yesterday. I never actually begin the when I wake up, I don't think about today, so to speak. I think about how grateful and thankful I was for yesterday. By the time I hit the outside and walk my dog, Cody, I begin to start thinking about and thanking what I have and what is going to be a good day. I have to think positive. Even if I wake up in a bad mood, even if I wake up sick, I will find every part of me and every ounce of me to discover all the positive in any negative that I wake up with.
I think that's great. And thank you for that lesson for our listeners. I know what you're saying out there, CROC Nation, especially if you're a newly diagnosed survivor. How could I be thankful? God, look what you've done to me. I've woken up into a nightmare. I've just been diagnosed with cancer. And now you're asking me to listen to this podcast about gratitude. Quite frankly, what do I have to be grateful for? So I will use that as a jumping point into gratitude, and how actually, even in the most dire of circumstances, such as a cancer diagnosis or of a loss, how a gratitude exercise or a gratitude or a grateful state of mind could actually benefit you. So there's a paper that comes out of USC from a Dr. Cox from the neuropsychology department at USC, University of Southern California, that first states in his first sentence, he mentions that there is evidence that indicates that gratitude can boost health and well-being. So stay with me, CROC Nation. I know I haven't convinced you yet, but maybe by the end of this podcast, you may not be fully convinced, but at least open to the idea that maybe doing some of the things that we're going to recommend might be something you could fit into your day. He further goes on to say that the benefits associated with gratitude include better sleep, more exercise, reduced symptoms of physical pain, lower levels of inflammation, lower blood pressure, and a host of other things we associate with better health. And the limits are really, the limits are unlimited, to be honest with you. They go on to say in this paper, to truly derive long-lasting benefits, though, experts say you should make it a part of your daily or weekly routine. Angel, your routine that you just described to the CROC Nation is exactly what I'm recommending that people do that are survivors and their caretakers. Yep, that would be their caretakers, and we are their caregivers. And to the caregivers as well, is to be grateful. You might feel a warm glow. So there's actually a feeling of warmth that you feel when you do express gratitude. And gratitude shouldn't be an exercise that you only profess or practice once a year at Thanksgiving for those 20 seconds that you are obligated to talk in front of your family and tell everybody what you're thankful for. It should really be a daily routine. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
So the science says, and says, that's Croc Nation. I'm going to try to get away from the word SEZ. I'm really working on it. The science says, SAYS, that gratitude research backs up a few typical approaches. So things just as saying thank you to a person who is not expecting you to say thank you would be considered a gratitude exercise. Simple, right? You go into the drugstore, you go to CVS, you buy your Tylenol, and the clerk gives you back your money or whatever, and you say thank you, God bless you, have a good day. That's a gratitude exercise. You might even want to start journaling or writing down things that you're grateful for, or things that impact you in a way where you're thankful for the lesson. And believe it or not, Croc Nation, many, many of you, and there have been thousands of you that I have interviewed over the years, have told me universally that cancer has been a gift. It may not be the gift that you asked for, but it has changed your life, and in most cases, changed your life in a positive way. It's also in the paper from Dr. Fox. He uses a really nice analogy. And for all of our muscle heads out there, or exercise fanatics, gratitude is very similar to working out or doing exercise, in that the more you practice gratitude, the better you get at it. The same as if you go into the gym or you do your CrossFit or you do your running, and you start at a 15-minute mile, and then the next month you're doing a 14-minute mile. The same benefits accrue when you actually put your heart and soul into your gratitude exercises. The researching of gratitude was not thought of well in the scientific community. As a matter of fact, Dr. Fox got a lot of pushback and actually was thought of by his colleagues as being a little bit nutty or a little bit off to want to even study gratitude in a scientific manner. And one of his studies was to use some of the more modern or technologically advanced imaging that we have that utilize isotopes. So an isotope is a radioactive element that would be injected in you, and then different parts of the brain would metabolize this substance, like a tagged glucose molecule. And then these people would be shown very jarring pictures. So a picture might be of the Holocaust, or it might be of a mother nursing their baby, or it might be of a little kid being kissed by a dog, or something wonderful or something horrible. And they're looking at where exactly what part of the brain is processing these images, and that's kind of where his research emanated from. But many people scoffed at his interest in emotion, and he really received little attention from his colleagues. So God bless you, Dr. Fox. Thank you for moving forward and becoming an expert exactly in this. He also found that there were links between gratitude and brain structures, as we said, that are also tied to social bonding, reward and stress relief, as well as bolstering connections between that tendency to feel grateful and a chemical that we know as oxytocin, which promotes social ties. So that's sort of a neurochemical that is kind of hanging around the boulevards of our receptors, of our little synapses in our brain, and then are able to sort of trigger a certain type of emotion. The research on gratitude have also found associations and health benefits in things like, as I said, better sleep, general well-being, generosity, and a significant reduction in depression. And it makes sense, Angel, that the gratitude is beneficial even from an evolutionary perspective. So think about this. If an organism is competing for resources, with another organism and there's only enough resources for one,
Mhm.
believe it or not even on the Homo sapiens / human level, but even on a much lower evolutionary level, gratitude has been defined as one of the characteristics that would actually derive a benefit to the organism that was able to show and feel gratitude, believe it or not. So people that did not develop gratitude or grateful relationships with others, it was unlikely that they would be able to survive. And the reason for that is because survival is dependent on interactivity in a social context. So one organism cannot live detached from other organisms. There has to be an interaction. There has to be sort of a symbiotic relationship between the organisms, and that gratitude is really has the similar bonding with the other important social directives that allowed us to evolve to be the dominant species on this planet.
Interesting.
Yeah, I find that interesting as well. Gratitude can help people cope with stress. Is there anyone out there listening that does not have stress in their life? And also build stronger relationships. I think that can't be said enough. Relationships really are the foundation of a happy life, right? Being alone is, sometimes you just want to be left alone, right? Ariel's screaming, your wife is, biting your back, if Rachel, no offense, I would do the same thing if I was married to him. But there's a chance that you're just sitting there and it's like, God, please, I just want to be left alone. But really, how long could that last? Right? Not very long. After a while, after you yell at everybody, you're going to say, hello, I'm sorry, Daddy's sorry, honey's sorry, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to lose my temper. So you kind of get it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So let's talk about, remember what we always said, Angel, we're not a podcast that points out problems. We're not a podcast that points out challenges. Well, we do, but we don't do that in a vacuum. We also come out the other end with some prescriptives and some advice and some thought processes on how you can derive benefit from whatever topic it is that we're talking about. So let's talk a little bit about journaling. Do you do any writing? I know with your podcast, Angel, you must be taking notes all day.
It's funny. I gotta be honest. I don't take notes from my podcast. However, when I had therapy during my depression eras, my therapist recommended that I keep a diary, and I did, and it was used for anytime I had any type of thoughts, anything, so I wouldn't build up my frustrations, and it worked. And every once in a while I still have it. It's funny, I still have it here in my I wish I had it active right now to show you guys, but I have a small binder that I still have, this little thing that I have when every once in a while I'll still write. So yeah, I still do it.
And also what Dr. Fox mentioned, and I was actually mentioning this today on a text stream with my wife. We were mentioning we were going out to dinner, and I said, it's the little things that make me happy, and he agrees 100%. Even if it's a great cup of coffee, or just taking a hot shower and be able to luxuriate in that hot shower, and you just kind of let the stress, being grateful for that. Those little things are also exercises that I think everyone should,
Absolutely
center on. So besides just journaling, just the little things, centering on little things. It doesn't have to be a trip around the world. It could be a trip down the street to a new restaurant. It could be, going and finding a cool new tool at, Home Depot. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be anything grand.
Even a drive too, Dr. E.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Writing in a gratitude journal can build a reserve of positive feelings that you could draw on during rough patches in life. And everyone will tell you, when their life is going well, everything's great, but we all have gone through rough patches, and we will continue to go through rough patches. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, these are the times where instead of being less thankful and less grateful, these are the times we need to be more thankful and more grateful, and to be thankful for sharing with the people in our lives. Be thankful to the people that we see every day, our family members, our spouses, our children, our pets, our dogs. But also our coworkers, to tell them thank you, thank you. for taking such great care of our patients. Thank you for being a great coworker. Thank you, for being great and being my work family. Those are things that would be helpful as well. People who are grateful, Angel, get less triggered or less angry. They have more positive feelings, and that attracts other people. When you feel these positive emotions and relish these experiences, there's a bonding in that, and that strengthens these relationships. And at the heart of this thankfulness, at the heart of this gratitude, can you guess, Angel, what it is that is the tie that makes that even now we're going to elevate gratitude and thankfulness to a sacred level? Do you know what characteristic is the characteristic that actually elevates it to that sort of a holy, sacred place? And we've talked about this before on another podcast.
For some reason, I just keep thinking of the word peace of mind.
Okay. How about humility?
Yeah.
To humble yourself.
I was going to say, in order to get peace of mind, you have to be at peace with yourself. And in order to get peace with yourself, you have to humble yourself. So yes.
Yep. You have to recognize that you don't have it all. You didn't create it all. You don't have all the answers. And by humbling ourselves, we elevate our humanity and we connect. Now, some people call it God. Some people call it Jesus. Some people call it Moses, or some people call it, Muhammad, or whatever it is that you call it. Some people call it the universe. Some people call it a guy named Eddie. Whatever people call it, that connection starts with humility and starts with gratitude. And it actually is a common thread, Angel, in many already structured religious beliefs and religious cultures and philosophies. There were some famous historians. Cicero from Italy, from the Roman Empire, reportedly called it the mother of all virtues. The Greek philosopher Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." And one of the great authors or literary greats of our time, not a fan of him, but Charles Dickens shared a similar sentiment when he would be quoted as saying, "Reflect upon your present blessings, of which every man has many, not on your past misfortunes, of which all men have some." So, to conclude the podcast, Angel, to be grateful is to express a personal relationship with that source, whether understood to be a deity or the cosmos or the universe or just a greater world. That is a profound, profound thing. Gratitude research has shown the most effective approaches, the journal, the thank you notes. When's the last time you hand wrote a thank you note?
Actually, 2 weeks ago, because I finished up a consistory meeting and they wanted us to thank somebody for doing a clothing drive. So I have done one about 2 weeks ago, but before that, I can't remember.
So CROC Nation, I want you guys to do some experiments. I want you to try on different things for size, wake up in the morning, begin your gratitude exercises, start thinking about gratitude, thank the person who's making your coffee, thank a coworker, say something nice to your spouse, say something nice to your kids, say something nice to your neighbor, even if they're driving you crazy. I promise you, if you begin these gratitude exercises, it will demonstrate and change your life. It will change your cancer journey for the better, and it will make you a happier and more balanced and connected person. Angel Santana, have faith, let it begin. Let us end this exercise and podcast on gratitude with our gratitude shout outs.
Can I ask you one question, Dr. E? As a doctor,
yes,
how often, I know the answer to this because I've seen you do it every time I'm in your presence, but maybe from your answer to other colleagues, they can hear this. How often do you thank your staff?
Oh my God, continuously.
And I've seen it firsthand. So, and you're being in your office makes you want to be a part of that team because everybody smiles. even when they've had rough days and you wouldn't even know because they come in your office and they're smiling, but then they go, oh, and then they go and they leave happy. And that's a testimony, a testament to you. And I think, all the doctors need to know that, it's important because you're only as good as your team. You're a leader. Attitude reflects leadership. And when you walk into your office, it's a direct reflection on everybody that you walk in the hallway. And I've touched base on this before. You open these big, I'm going to paint a picture for everybody that's listening. Dr. E's office is like these two giant doors. It's like a welcoming Jurassic Park door. All right. It's the big doors that just kind of open up. And as I'm walking this long hallway, you feel like you're on a show because people are coming from left and right and they're saying hi. And Dr. E is joking with them and everybody's happy, even though they probably just came out of a room, maybe giving somebody some bad news. You wouldn't know.
Well, one of the reasons is I feed everyone hash brownies in the morning. That's one of the reasons why. All kidding aside, Angel, I think, again, getting back to the point of this podcast, it is that gratitude that I have to be given the supreme responsibility of taking care of cancer survivors. And because I am so thrilled and grateful for that opportunity, and I am so honored with that opportunity, I think that's where the trickle down effect is on everyone, and everyone in our staff, every single person, I think shares that same ideology. I think they share that same philosophy. And I think that we are all like-minded in that department, the Department of Radiation Oncology. Shout out to my work family. And I think that is a great way to end this podcast by, instead of shouting out our gratitudes to our usual people, we're going to shout out to my CROC Nation and to my work family for helping me be edified by work, to be happy at work, to be fulfilled at work, to be able to have the tools to help our survivors.
Well said. And also, I want to give you a little piece of business on our end because, everybody, we're getting into the Thanksgiving and the holiday season. Well, holiday season here at the CROC podcast has already begun because if you have been a part of our show, if you've had a chance to go on our social media accounts like Twitter, where we're at CROC VIP, you would have already known that we have 2 books that we're giving away. All you have to do is let us know and we'll send it to you. I mean, we've talked about 2 books. It's called Healing the Human Machine. That was written by Dr. Calvin Hargis and also Dr. We also have another book.
Dr. Rana Audish.
Rana Audish.
Rana Audish, yes.
Rana Audish. And that's another book that we have available. All you have to do is let us know and that you're a subscriber. Let us know that you've been listening. And I'm going to pose another part for all of us. I'm going to put a poll up and it's going to start early. What are you thankful for? Let the CROC podcast know. What are you thankful for? And I will put that poll up right now. It's already going to be out by the time I put this out, but it's going to go up right now tonight. And, in a couple of weeks, we'll, let's touch base on it.
Angel, you know what the CROC podcast board will be happy for?
What?
We kept this podcast to less than 30 minutes.
It's all yours. Take it away.
On behalf of Angel Santana, the board of directors at the CROC podcast, we end this podcast as we end every podcast. To our CROC Nation, to our CROC survivors, to our cancer survivors, we wish you a long, healthy, happy, cancer-free life. May God be with you. May God bless you. We wish you peace.
Thank you for listening to the CROC podcast. We would like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for joining us each and every Sunday at 9 a.m. We'd like to remind you that on behalf of all of us here at CROC Podcast and on behalf of Dr. Tommy and Ellie, we wish you a very safe and happy holiday season. Happy Thanksgiving from all of us to all of you. Don't forget to take advantage of our social media account and join us and be a subscriber. We would love to have you a part of the team.